Welcome to the Discover Montcalm podcast, where we're going to take a look at the communities, the businesses, the attractions, and the people that make up Montcalm County. Here is your podcast host, Duane Weed.
Thank you for tuning in to Discover Montcalm. Today I have Steve Foster with me. Steve Foster, if you don't know who he is, he's been around this county for a long time. I understand you grew up in Greenville, graduated from Greenville.
Yes.
Let's go back to when you first remember Greenville.
Well, I remember it as being just a quaint little town, a great place to live. Enjoyed growing up in Greenville, even though we had a thing in Greenville that we lived across the tracks on the north side of town.
Okay.
So, but all of our peers and friends at that point in time, we all turned out pretty good.
So you graduated from Greenville. At that point, you took off and you went to college.
Well, I thought I wanted to be an engineer, so I went to the University of Michigan.
Okay.
And after a year, I had second thoughts about that. And I was trying to decide what I wanted to do. And I came home, and Montcalm Community College was in, I think, the second or third year at that point in time.
What year approximately are you talking?
Well, I graduated from there in '68.
Okay.
So I went there in '67, and I went as a sophomore because I'd already completed a year of college.
Okay.
So got a chance to experience the smaller college, and I have to say that going to Montcalm Community College in that time, that was the most fun that I had in college and really enjoyed it. Was awarded the first Arts and Sciences Associate degree from Montcalm Community College. And I transferred then to Michigan State University and graduated there with my BA in business.
Okay. After you got your degree, did you go to work in Greenville right away, or did you go out and spread your wings, come back? What?
71.
Was when you went to work at Greenville?
Well, I went to work in building then, but it was 82 that I went to work for Greenville Tool and Die.
Okay.
I was there almost 33 years before I retired.
Now, Greenville Tool and Die, big business in Montcalm County. They've been there for, what year did they start?
1946.
1946. And I remember that's where I met you, was at Greenville Tool when I was doing some videos for them.
I think you were, that was early on in your career too.
Because I started my business in 83. No,
Yeah.
I graduated in 83, started my business in 84.
Mm-hmm.
So it was in the back in the VHS 3/4 inch days.
You did a company promo for us.
Yes, I
Yep.
remember that. So you were there, Greenville Tool and Die, Stan Ash, a big supporter for Montcalm Community College.
Education
Was
on
huge.
all levels.
Which I'm
Yep.
sure probably rubbed off on his employees.
Yes, yeah. That was my job when I came there. That he told me that right up front, that I was going to be the front man.
And that's kind of led you into a lot of different positions around Montcalm County to this day. You're the current president of the Montcalm Area Intermediate School District. You were telling me before we started some other things that you're involved in. What are some of the other involvements that you have in the county?
Well, education-wise, like I told you, I've been on the Education Foundation of Greenville for like 25 years now. And I really enjoy that, But
you saw that education was needed.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And, from your involvement with being the front person on Greenville Tool and Die to working with the community college, graduating from the community college.
Well, Greenville Tool and Die was a skilled trade. We made stamping dies for primarily the automotive industry. Now they've branched out in a lot of other industries now, like refrigeration and dryers, washers, refrigerators, all that kind of stuff. That has all evolved over time, and I became very appreciative of the kinds of people that we had for employees that were so skilled, and they were skilled because of the apprenticeship programs that we had. You know, that's how we trained our people. And for many years, I had 40 or 50 apprentices at Greenville Tool and Die taking related instruction classes at MCC. And that was part of their apprenticeship program, is they had to complete a number of classes that were related to the field, as well as getting actual on-the-job experience and training at that time.
And that's where a place like Montcalm Community College is so important to this area.
Yes.
You know, and if you need something, they'll figure a way to build it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's also led you around to be the president of the Montcalm Area Intermediate School District, sitting on the board there. Let's jump back into today. What's Steve Foster doing today? You know, since you retired, you haven't stopped giving back to the community, but
I've stayed involved with, you know, particularly the two things that we just talked about, the Education Foundation and the ISD, and I've been president of the board of the ISD for some time now,
and you got
nobody else wants a job.
Well, I understand. You drew the short straw.
I drew.
But I remember back when you were still working at Greenville Tool and Die, you had this love for the outdoors. You've always had a love for the outdoors, and you started. I remember some conversations where we talked about, okay, I think I want to go out and start videoing hunts, and I want to start doing this. And that has really, you know, you kind of did it while you were working, and now that you're retired, you can, you know, you're still working. Tell me a little bit about Foster Outdoor Productions.
Well, I started Foster Outdoor Productions in 2010, actually made it official. Just because I was doing some things then, and that was about 4 years before I retired. And when I retired, specifically one of my ambitions was to have more time to get involved with this. So I started actually way back in 1994 with a 8mm camera.
Sure.
And
it starts somewhere.
Then Super 8, and it kept going, Mini DV and all those things. You see so many things when you're outdoors, you know, in a hunting situation or whatever, and most people, all they can do is come back home and talk about it, tell people about it. Well, I decided that, you know, I would like to show people what I see out there. I started freelancing when I retired, and I had an opportunity to film for like a half a dozen different shows that are on TV, and I went through the School of Hard Knocks on that, you know, to learn, and it's all about telling the story. And
whatever that story is, and you can't cue the deer, you can't cue the animal, you can't go back and do it twice.
You know, one of the things the production people or the editors will tell you, whatever you do, just get it in focus.
Please, focus, please, focus.
Please get it in focus. But anyway, that has led me up to a point where I'm now currently working on a television program with two other guys that have long been in the industry. And I was flattered that they sought me.
We hope you're enjoying our podcast, and we'll be back after we thank our sponsors. West Michigan Technology and Design Solutions, your IT and web hosting experts, westmichiganhelpdesk.com, and DW Video, your source for video production, websites, and your local videotape, slides, and 8mm film transfer specialist. dwvideo.com. Now, back to our interview.
Let's bring it back to Montcalm County for a minute, because I know that your hunts have taken you all over the U.S. Have they taken you outside of the country?
Canada, Mexico, and South Africa.
Okay. So, you're able to, touch on a lot of different things. What are some of the things that you've been able to do with your talents here locally to help, like the Montcalm Conservation District?
I was telling you before that each spring we have for the greater Montcalm area. It branches out into a couple other counties, but we do what's called an annual state land cleanup.
Right.
And some of the entities I've been involved with, like handle the Stanton State Game Area, the Langston State Game Area, Vestaburg, Edmore, and then Belding Sportsman's Club handles the Flat River State Game Area. And we have it usually about the second Saturday of April each year, and the DNR gets us big dumpsters that we house in different places. And we go out in teams and pick up all the junk that we can find.
If you could pick an attraction or something to do in Montcalm County, what's the go-to place for you in Montcalm County? And why?
That's a good question, because we have a number of lakes in Montcalm County, parks, a lot of outdoor recreation opportunities and that sort of thing. But
if I could peel that onion away just a little bit, if you can't pick one, what are a couple, and where are they located, and why do you like them?
Well, I grew up going over to Crystal Lake, all the way from power boating to skiing to fishing.
Right.
Great fishing and stuff like that.
Do you still do that today, or have you changed your...
I don't do as much fishing in this day and age. To be honest, I've become a video freak, and I spend a lot of time doing that. And like you say, you're learning stuff every day. I'm learning stuff all the time. I'm watching YouTube videos, and you use Creative Cloud, don't you?
A little bit, yep.
Well, I have the Adobe Creative Cloud. And I'm always interested in, I get an update every month, and sometimes they're adding a bunch of new things, and you have to try to keep up on it. And
you're only as good as the tools.
Well, yeah, and in this day and age, the artsy craftsy things in the video business are what really is attracting people now. More so than it used to be. It's not just filming the story in focus. It's trying to get some of these in focus, blurred background, those kinds of things.
More the, movie look, cinematic look.
Yeah, cinematic.
To things, and that's kind of been the fun for me. Also, stepping into a role teaching at the Montcalm Area Career Center is to try to teach the students some of this stuff. And like you said, we're always learning. You're never too old to learn.
No.
And things change so fast. Another question about Montcalm County. Why would someone want to discover Montcalm, in your opinion?
Well, I'll tell you, that's a question that a number of us have asked. You're probably not going to like the answer, but Montcalm County isn't ranked real high in the list of counties in Michigan. And, we have economic issues with our population, and A lot of what happens is, in this day and age, we send kids off to school or college or whatever, and they don't necessarily come back.
And say they go and they jump.
Yeah.
They bail.
So that's been our challenge.
Well, Steve, we touched on a lot of things today. I thank you for coming in. It's nice to kind of get a perspective, especially from the education side. We all go, well, what's the schools doing for us? What are they? I mean, there's a lot of hardworking people out there putting in a lot of time to make sure that the kids get what they need. But then there's a lot of businesses out there that are really busting it to serve the communities.
Well, I spent most of my work life in the skilled trades, and that's what we need. And we kind of got away from that a little bit in the 2008-9 recession. They were claiming manufacturing was going away, and I don't know how they plan to succeed going forward if we didn't have manufacturing in this country. We were dependent on others, but manufacturing was actually what brought us out of the dumps back in that recession. And the cycle is turned around now, and you can see, especially Greenville is a good example. They have developed a technology program there, and they're partnering with MCC to a certain degree, and they're bringing back the technical skills aspect.
Well, the trades. I mean,
Trades.
We need that. I mean, big time.
We don't need politicians and other things, but when we need a plumber and an electrician or something like that, we need, and all those jobs pay very well now.
They do.
They pay well. People can earn a very good living. I often said, Stan Ash used to say when he owned Greenville Tool and Die and was alive that tool and dyers could make anything.
So true.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, thank you for your time today. Remember to discover Montcalm in all its beauty, and remember to buy and shop locally.
Connect and subscribe to Discover Montcalm Podcast at discovermontcalmpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Discover Montcalm Podcast. To be featured in an upcoming show, contact Duane at 231-250-9624. Remember to subscribe at discovermontcalmpodcast.com.